and cinched down tight over your ears. So take it away, Dave and Mickey.
I suppose I should read us in. Welcome to Shiny Side Out with Dave.
And Mackie, thanks for reading us in.
We're broadcasting live from the Sydney studios in Australia, and it's a great idea to jump into the chat room at freedomslips.com and discuss the topics that get you thinking. You can listen there as well if you like, or you can follow us on, or you can just get it on YouTube. But you can follow us also on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Also Blogger, and a couple other things through our website and whatever. Check out shinysideout.net, which is the whatever. For our show archives, show notes, and links, we also paste into the chat during the show. It's so easy to listen to Revolution Radio. If you're lucky enough to live in Kentucky, which I wish we were, Mackie, because we could hang out at the annual guest, the host party at the station. But we can't, sadly. So if someone's out there with enough money to be able to fund us to go over there and enjoy ourselves, that'd be great.
Funding!
Yeah, we need a lobbyist. You can listen on FM in Kentucky, WZZR 101.3, or if you're anywhere else in the entire universe with an application on your smart device, you can listen through, as long as you have Wi-Fi, or some kind of internet connection. Probably the other internet, not the Earth's internet, someone else's. You could probably enjoy yourself. But you can listen on Revolution Radio app, TalkStream Live. Has an app as well, if you didn't know. TuneIn.com, Radio Tuner, or Shiny Side Out. You can listen on our... I wrote the app, it's pretty cool. Otherwise, if you don't have an app with too many buttons, as Hawk says, and I like it, you can just sit at home with your Grace tabletop digital radio, or if you're lucky enough to have a General Motors vehicle with a receiver-enabled radio, you can listen to us on the road. I really like the sound of that. I actually listen to my app in my car while I'm driving. And Simply Red's actually asked, are we from Down Under? Yeah, mate. Actually, yes.
On your cover.
Struth.
Not for God's truth, yes.
It is. And no one's going to understand what that means. So thank you so much. Simply Red 777 in the chat room. Each one of those things that I mentioned, outside of just being purely FM, all of those are revolutions in radio. And if you don't listen to the show, and you've just picked up this on YouTube, maybe what you'd like to do is instead of rummaging through the archives and getting the files you want or whatever it is, maybe you could just buy a CD. You can buy a CD from the station of your favourite hosts' last year's shows, which is pretty cool. You can even get the best of 2014 season, which is everyone's interviews with famous people put onto a CD. I like the sound of that one. That's my favourite. If you are in the US of A, you can call in on 347-688-2902. And I'm going to tell you, we're not discouraging you from calling in, but you better be careful with the costs involved in calling in if you're anywhere else on the planet. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. Thank you. And just watch The Simpsons. I can't remember which episode, but Bart calls Down Under. It was not cheap.
That's true. Do you know the number that the station uses? I've got a number, 10 numbers different to that, and So that number is out of New York, 347. And it doesn't really matter. Just be careful if you're area coding your dial plans or whatever you need to. You know what? If you didn't catch it, Solaris had an awesome show. On today, Mickey, she had Suzanne Purcell. Yep. I don't know how to pronounce it. You know me and my pronunciations. I'm too careful. That's all it is. If you ever hear me fault a pronunciation, I'm trying to do it right. And then I second guess myself, and then I take too long, and that's the rest of that story. So, if you miss Solaris' show, if you're watching us for the first time on YouTube, jump into the chat room or go to the archives, the Freedom Slips archives, and maybe you want to look at the whole back catalogue of Solaris's work. It's pretty awesome.
All right.
Mackie, this is show 170.
170. I can't do that. No, it doesn't work. 100. Yes.
100.
Yeah, that's lame. But yes, that's awesome. How good is that? That's 170. I like to think of it as a legacy, right? Because there won't be. I'm not a billionaire, so I can't build a hospital or buy a country and name it after myself. But we can point to the shows while YouTube still exists, and you can have a look, guys, and listen to it. And look, we make mention of it frequently on our shows, all the past shows, that is, because they're all connected. All connected. 170 shows, all connected. Believe it or not. 170. Dave, 170. What do you think?
Well, I think you're right. I think they're all connected. They're not just also connected by the. This is not the Greco-Roman.
What's the numbering system we have?
Again?
The numbering system? Arabic numerals?
That's right.
That's what it is. They're all connected by that. That's only one of the things they're connected by. Usually the finance system or gold or you name it. All the past shows with all have a link. And we were surprised to find that there were links between all the things we were talking about. And it surprised a lot of people, but you can look further up the tree and you can find more things that are in common, and you go further and you see that people are in control. And that's really quite the scary thing. Now, I thought last week was the last week that I would have to talk about earthquakes.
Yep, please do.
But
can you believe that in the last I think 6 weeks now, there's been an earthquake over 7 in each of those weeks? There's something extraordinary about that. We haven't seen that. I didn't think we'd seen 5 of them, but now there's 6. Another week has gone by, and it was an 8.5 earthquake, some 590 kilometers beneath the surface of the Earth off Japan.
Yep.
That is absolutely, it's something else.
I'm almost lost for words. Almost. Not quite. But that is something else. And we were lucky, and I think they were lucky. I think the whole planet's lucky that wasn't devastating. But think about this. Is this just the active time? Is this the dark rift? Are we going through deep gravitational waves from the galactic core?
Yep.
What is it that's causing such earth changes, making 40 volcanoes going off right now?
Yeah, look, we've spoken about the extinction level events before. Something seems to happen on a relatively periodic time scale as far as periodic. I mean, every tens of millions of years or so ago. But so we maybe this might just be a natural cycle for the Earth, Dave. This might be a natural sun cycle. There might be and I know there's a lot of naysayers out there, but there could very well be another planet entering the system, right? I mean, who's to say that's impossible? The universe is big. Of course, it's possible. If Nibiru really exists, Nibiru would very much unbalance our gravitational arrangement here in the solar system, very much so, right? And knock a few things out, loose from the Oort cloud as well, and certainly cause earthquakes. One can only imagine what happened when the moon came into Earth's orbit. The tidal waves and earthquakes. So it could be part of a natural cycle. But, and we spoke about this, Dave. Remember, I've just pasted, by the way, an earthquake site.
Yep,
saw that.
Gives you all the earthquakes up to the minute. So if you go back just one page to page number 2 on that, you will see the earthquake Dave just mentioned off Bonin Islands in the Japan region, right? Massive earthquake there. And they only reported as a 7.8, but I think Dave is right. Because one thing I have noticed, and James Bartley noticed, they downgrade all the earthquakes. They put one number first and then downgrade it every time. It's never upgraded, it's always downgraded. Well, be that as it may. But we spoke about this. I mean, how many nuclear tests can you have before there is an actual measurable effect on the Earth's mantle? how many times? In fact, we've done it 2,000 times. How many times can you knock the Earth about before it knocks back? I'm sorry, but this force doesn't just dissipate. It doesn't just poof. There's all the kinetic and otherwise energy associated with a nuclear blast doesn't just disappear, guys. It goes somewhere, right? I mean, and then there's knock-on effects. So we're seeing that. So yeah, that's my very long-winded answer there.
Well, I've got something else to add to that long-winded answer. And did you know that CERN, or the LHC, has been turned back on in the last 5 weeks? The LHC.
Oh, really?
The Large Hadron Collider. Spring 2015 physics program to restart the LHC experiments. So, a lot of people were talking about either HAARP or CERN as being the cause. Maybe it's CERN. I'm just saying maybe. They're talking about geoengineering, and why wouldn't they fix California's drought with geoengineering if they can half their way into storms or whatever. What I propose is that's probably the cause of it. Whatever they're harping is probably causing it, and they don't want to fix it. If you're looking at a depopulation agenda, Mickey, and anything has any kind of risk, what's more likely going to be the outcome? Yeah, let's just run with that then.
Yeah, it's like hey, we don't have to release a virus. We don't have to, turn people into zombies to eat each other. We'll just let the earthquakes do the thing. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. That'll do it. It's a lot cheaper too, right?
Did you see what the I'm going to say the Americans, but I'm not being disrespectful. What was very strange this week about you mentioned virus.
Yeah.
What did they send up in a plane to transport to Japan or somewhere or wherever it was?
Wasn't it a virus?
Anthrax.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's actually spores, but yes.
It is spores. And they were shipping it, and they realized it was live. Oh, was it? They said? Really? Oh, I didn't know. We thought they were all dead.
Yes, we killed them.
Yeah. What were they planning to do with this anthrax? Why would you be shipping it around the planet? Surely you'd be able to do it in a safe manner? Oh, no. What are they going to spray it on people? What are they doing with it, Mickey?
Did you say Japan? Is that where they're shipping?
I think that's where they sent it. I'm just going to have a look really quickly.
Well, I mean, we do know that chemtrails are a real thing. I mean, you can trust your eyes when you see them in the sky. I've seen them. Condensation trails, contrails, dissipate and are formed due to the temperature differential in between the plane's exhausts and the upper atmosphere. Whereas chemtrails don't dissipate. They just stay there for hours. So, could you lace it with anthrax? Yes, you could. Don't forget, when we did our show on biological weapons, or general weapons, I guess, Japan was the country that pioneered the deployment of biological weapons via rockets. Okay, so that actually was Japan that did it. So maybe they never really stopped the research.
Yeah, well, I don't think anyone has because Pentagon admits live anthrax may have been shipped to Australia lab in 2008. Remember that's crazy, right? Live anthrax shipped by US military, and that was one day ago. In what was it is emerging as a widening military investigation into the accidental shipment of live anthrax. And then someone else has got a very funny comment saying some accident, some knucklehead in the military accidentally shipped live anthrax.
This file contains the very dangerous zombie virus. Do not ship it by accident. Very good, sir. We shipped it by accident. The zombie virus has now been shipped to McDonald's to be part of the McDonald's hamburgers. That's sorry. Our bad. We did a mistake. Sorry.
It's like holding an open test tube of something over I'm just saying McDonald's, right? Just the hamburger manufacturing facility, not McDonald's. And going, whatever you do, don't spill it into the mixture. That would be very bad, right? You'd kill millions of people. And they go, what time is it? He goes, and he tips it in. that's how silly this is.
So it says the U.S. Department of Defense.
Yeah. But this is how this is. U.S. Department of Defense announced on the 27th of May that it accidentally shipped live anthrax spores to labs in 9 U.S. states and a military base in South Korea.
Yeah, that's good.
Hang on.
So what did the person expect to receive? Oh, they expected to receive dead anthrax spores. Was it?
Is that what they expected to receive? Is dead anthrax?
So there's no harm in dead anthrax. That's cool. Let's open a container up. What have they just done?
You can sprinkle those on your... Yeah. Look, it's clear, guys, no jokes, right? But it's clear that this is what we know. This is what we heard. How many do you think incidences of this nature have occurred without us knowing about it? A lot is the answer. A lot. Okay?
It's probably round the clock.
Oh, clearly. Oh, we lost another zombie virus file. Oh, hot dog. Close off Manhattan. There goes Manhattan. No more Manhattan. Okay. Manhattan's now a hologram. So, guys, this is the stuff. This is the stuff that we know about, right? And this is the mainstream media. And always remember this, okay? Before we go any further. Every piece of information that you get via the mainstream media has been vetted. It has been looked at and has been approved for release. Very few times does this not happen. It happens. It happens that information comes out, unbeknownst to the powers, and it just goes, it bypasses somehow the filtering process and the rigorous routine they have, but very, very rarely. So everything that we get has been pre-approved. Try to get information that hasn't been pre-approved from people on the front lines, real journalists and so forth. And then even you'll say, oh no, with the internet, well, yeah, you're right. With the internet, there's a bit more leakage happening, as we've seen, but it is still relatively controlled. Because the true secrets, the real secrets, most people don't have access to, and the people that do have access to are probably either too scared or patriotic. Maybe, maybe falsely so. I don't want to put anyone down, but, maybe you should re-examine your if you're guarding a secret that could destroy humanity. But there's a lot of self-censoring going on. So we share this with you, and you know it, and there it is. That's the stuff that they let us know. That's the tip of the iceberg, okay?
Do you know what? Simply Red has said, he's in the chat room and typing away, saying, "Oh my god, I'm laughing my A off. You two just cannot be serious. It's not in your natures." And I think that's actually pretty funny because the only reason we laugh about everything is because it's so it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to assume, and I'm being sarcastic, that people are going to do the right thing. You would imagine that there'd be 20 times the safety regulations of anything else if it was military. Yeah. That's what I'm expecting that. I pay my tax dollars, everyone does. And I would expect that, when they're going to be handling stuff like anthrax, for instance, or whatever it happens to be, the zombie virus in a vial or whatever, whoever it is, isn't going to take it home and think it's hilarious to give it to their 10-year-old children's party. Yeah? Really. And just see what happens. You would imagine that they're going to do the utmost. They're going to have, clipboards, going to be signing of stuff, there's authorizations, there's going to be people whose job it is just to observe to make sure other people are doing their job correctly. And we do need to laugh about this stuff because while this is going on, what else isn't being told? And the only time they ever admit to anything is when you catch them out. That's what it's like. It's like the thief or the bully or whoever it is. You ask them point blank, did they do anything? Oh no, I haven't done anything. What do you mean? Oh, but here's the video footage of you doing exactly what you just said you didn't do. Oh, well, yeah, that was me. What else have you done? Nothing.
Nothing.
That was the only thing you've ever done. It was just that. Yeah. So that's why we think it's so funny. And you know what? If you don't laugh, I think you just go mad. So it's better off laughing about it. Meki.
And I never inhaled either.
I never exhaled. That's what. Oh, did I get it wrong?
You go on. At one point, then exhale. I don't know if you guys read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I hope you have. If you haven't, pay attention to the book Thanks and So Long for Thanks for all the Fish. A reference to the dolphins. There's a guy described in that book that lives in a house that is inside out. So his house is completely inside out, and if you if you enter his house, he says you're now coming out of the insane asylum. Okay, so that's how I feel. That's why we laugh. I think. I guess the entire world is now being run by the inmates. Okay, if the world is an asylum, the inmates are in charge. They've thrown away the keys, and in order to not to be found out, you have to laugh with them. Not at them.
That's right.
With them.
Do you know, I always make reference to
that's where we're at, guys.
It is. That's where we're at. I try to make reference to the trusted government officials, the trusted ones, the ones who we've trusted to run everything correctly. And when they don't, it annoys me. And it annoys me so much. One day, and if we could ever do it, we'd like to run for leader of the country at least. We wouldn't make decisions based on money, not the money that sends donations and bribes and Hey, I'd be proud to wear an outfit that was covered in logos for all our sponsors, where the sponsors were no. Once you became a sponsor, you couldn't get anything from the government. Nothing could ever be decided in your favour if you sponsor the government. Or just ban government sponsorship altogether. I turn into a panel. It should be a panel, no leader, just a panel. Meki, I was going to bring up I talked about the earthquake that was 590 kilometres. I'm going to bring it up near to the surface a little here and talk about the ancient sunken city in the Mediterranean that was discovered near Abu Queer Bay. I think Meki's video is frozen, or he's very still, or his batteries ran flat. He's a mechanoid. I don't know. I suggest to Meki to turn off the video, maybe. Hang on. Technical difficulty. There we go. He's turning his video off. So this sunken city is absolutely awesome. I'm going to pop the link into the chat room for everyone to have a look. Meki, I can hear you back again, yay.
Good stuff. Yeah, I popped the video off. Oddly, strangely, I don't know why. Sorry, guys.
So I'm just chatting now about the ancient sunken city.
Yes, sir.
Meki made in our pre-production show meeting. We were talking about this, and Meki, you said that they are oddly intact and look perfect.
Yes, they do. I mean, it's almost pristine under the water. If you see the pictures, guys, as though they had just sunk beneath the waves yesterday, as it were. But yeah, and then you actually made a point around that as well.
I did. It's because they haven't been touched by anyone.
Yes.
I like the fact that they've been preserved under the ocean for so long as to have not been disturbed, broken, or damaged. I just love that. So simply Red's surprised. Just look at these huge statues. Did they just find this? It's just been announced that they found them. They haven't mentioned when. But it's off the coast of Egypt. It's an Egyptian town that is now under the water, and we know that through some pictures, paintings, or not really glyphs, but they had an ocean side city. And there was really nothing like it that was in existence today, so we don't know when this went underwater. It's quite possible that it went underwater or the land sank. We see oceans disappearing or getting deeper. We see islands created from nothing almost overnight. And you can also have a subsidence like this with a massive earthquake or something doing a very similar thing.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want to have been living there, surely, but thankfully, and I have to say, whether or not ISIS is created by the CIA or whoever, whatever, right? At least the pictures of people destroying artifacts as significant as these, maybe the rest of them underwater that haven't been recovered still will be there for the next group of humans to find, maybe, Okay, so that's Sunken City. Now on land about cities. This week I saw a video of Yemen. In Yemen, a number of handheld videos just filming the same thing. And it showed a fiery explosion that is likened to me to the one that was in
Ukraine.
In the Ukraine, thanks, Becky. The tactical nuke-looking explosion where... I have to say it differs. It differs greatly from the video footage we saw of Palestine when Israel was retaliating, where there's a three-city block explosion of just grey dust going in the air. This has a fiery mushroom cloud, where the heat continues to rise up the centre pillar of the mushroom, while the mushroom isn't just a dust cloud. Now we saw the same thing in Ukraine. Now there's vision in Yemen of exactly the same thing. And that's the Saudis doing it. I'm so surprised. It's like suddenly India at war against, I don't know, Belgrade. It doesn't really make much sense. There's clearly something else going on and a reason for it that we're not privy to, Mickey.
That's what a shock! Sorry, but it's clearly that clearly we are being kept in the dark about many things. Certainly in the space of weapons technology. If you watch a movie, a sci-fi movie, that's probably where we are as far as weapons technology is concerned, right? Whatever you think is outlandish is probably happening today. We've come a long way from sticks and stones, guys, and some of these weapons are very strange. I had reports, this is years ago, out of Lebanon, and I think it was Lebanon, yeah, of people being molten in the vehicles as well, molten and shrunk, as though extreme heat had been unleashed upon those people. Not an explosion or burning fire, but almost like a desiccation or dehydration of the bodies.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Well, this vision, I think vision's really hard to dispute when it's like an explosion.
Someone is.
What was that, Mickey?
Sorry, someone is screaming for help. I'm just going to have a check, mate.
All right, cool. Well, Mickey does a good Samaritan act. I was just really surprised to see that same vision. It really gets me. It gets me going on that because who thought Yemen would be being attacked by anyone? I wanted to talk a little bit about Jade Helm, and I've been doing the research everyone else is looking at. And I'm just thankful, I do not live in the US. I'm really thankful. Although I want to live in California so bad, I'd be used to it with the droughts that we've got on. But Mickey and I were talking off air about the droughts in California, and if climate engineering or geoengineering is at all possible, and we suspect it is, we suspect it's being used, and it might even be being used militarily at the moment as well. And they're having a play with doing what they can, and there'd be no harm in attacking your enemies with it. because it would look innocuous if they didn't know you had the technology. Likewise with earthquakes and everything else. One of the things that I was thinking about was, what does Jade Helm allow the US military to do during what they're naming as a drill? And bank accounts, shutting down bank accounts, shutting down the internet. These are all things that are allowed to be done. Only from what I can see, I wish I saw the real papers. There's a lot of people coming forward saying that they're a whistleblower, that they were shown documents to say that they were going to do all these things. I don't know how much to believe, because you can't believe only YouTube. That's going to get you into trouble. It's going to get you thinking down the wrong direction. You do need to have other stuff that's going to back that up, unless you're talking directly to one of the high sources of that information. So just be really careful. I can't wait to see what it is. Maybe they know something else that's happening. Maybe Jade Helm is just the name of an exercise that of course Jade Helm. An exercise is something that's meant to be running in parallel with a live exercise. With something that's actually happening. So Simply Red in the chat room says that they're in the US and they're worried about the same thing, and it's frightening. I agree. I completely agree. Now, we've seen the National Emergency Centre being centralised to that underground bunker underneath the airport, the largest airport, or the smallest airport on the largest land. It does worry me. It worries me greatly that you happen to be, in the midst of something that could be so terrifying. I watch police brutality videos, and I think they're awful. I can't believe people are subjected to such. Nightcall posted this today. Yeah, the martial law and World War III prep document. Yeah. Thank you. It is frightening. Everyone who has visions of the future, and I'm one of those, has seen an event. And it usually has fire racing across the ground. Certainly that's been my vision for my whole life. That's what I've seen. As being not the actual end where everyone perishes, but certainly a lot of people perish, and it's the I don't know what causes it. I felt like I was burning from the inside, but my bones are being burned from the inside. So I think it's a high energy thing of whatever it is. I thought maybe a gamma ray burst or something from a nearby star going supernova. I don't know. Maybe some wave finally hits us. And maybe that's when it's going to hit us. I don't know. But I just suggest that you keep your eyes peeled and your ears open for any info that's going to lead towards anything. And maybe Jade Helm is that thing. Yeah, that's it. Back to Denver Airport. Well done. So maybe that's what it is. I wish I knew. I just wish. For some reason, I wish I knew what was actually going on, and I think we all do. And it's really tough when you don't have enough information to accurately make a diagnosis or a prediction, or you can't trend something out because there's a bit of missing data, and if you had that data, it would make all the difference. Yep, I've got the info, but I'm not going to read the info out on there, and I appreciate it. I'll have a look at offline. SJ's also talking about the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Neki, I can hear you back. What happened?
The strangest thing, sorry for the interruption, guys, but I've got my window open, and I'm on the first floor of a two-story building, so I'm upstairs, and I heard this woman scream, help me, not in a joking kind of fashion, and so my wife and my little daughter were scared, came in, so I went outside, except there was nothing. So very strange. I mean, there's no person around there. Wow. I don't know. I really don't know what happened, but it was. I mean, I've had experiences like this in the past. Unfortunately, I'm usually the only guy that checks. But yeah, this time there was nothing to see. My wife said someone was running down the street. I couldn't go that far, and I couldn't really see anyone either. So and it's still daylight, guys. By the way, it's not dark yet. Yeah, I don't know. And there's cars in the street, people in the street. Odd situation, but yeah, that's breaking news for you. In case you hear something on the news tonight, it happened in my street.
Oh, awesome. I hope the person's okay. You don't know whether they were running to something or from something.
I think from something.
Yeah, okay. Maybe the person or the thing they're running from decided not to pursue anymore.
Yes, I would say that's probably true.
You just don't know.
Very strange.
Or it caught up with them. Or it was a transdimensional creature that's taken it back to the other dimension. Who knows?
That's also possible.
Well, it's possible. Yep.
Hey, Maggie, I'm not surprised about anything anymore. Yeah, go on, sorry.
I wouldn't be surprised anyway. Simply read in the chat room. Narara, you're breathing heavy. I've changed my audio and taken the compressor off. So you could hear the next door neighbour. Even though they're 30 metres away from me, you'll be able to hear them. It's such an extraordinary microphone. It's up out of shot, up above the thing on YouTube. You can't quite see it, but sorry about that. It picks up everything. It'll pick up the neighbour's TV. I need to put the compressor back on, but I ran out of time trying to fix it today. Mecky, so I've spoken about the underwater thing. I spoke a little bit about Jade Helm, and there's a great document that I'll be flicking you after the show about Jade Helm and the World War III preparation document. So I just raised a few questions with that, and that was that I'm not quite sure what it is. I don't know to the extent in which they're able to, the military is able to act. And I mentioned to Mecky before the show that they can turn off the bank accounts, they can turn off the internet, they can do all these things. It's all part of the proposal that they're putting through for this. And is there something? Is there a live event that will be occurring, just like in the true US military history, 9/11?
It's possible.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oklahoma bombing.
Yep.
The Oklahoma, the Boston bombing.
The Boston bombing. London as well. There was a drill. Yep. Absolutely.
So is there a drill coinciding with a real event? And is that what this is? Is this something we don't know? And obviously there is always going to be something we don't know.
I would bet on that.
All right. So the next thing I was going to mention was money, because I've been watching a lot of Gerald Salente videos, and his live. He's got a live thing that he does weekly, I think now. And there's a lot of information packed into those, and they're in about 40 minutes each. And I caught up with a few of them. Now he was talking about gold. Now, Mecky and I have mentioned gold on the show many times. And now he's questioning, where is all the gold? Where is it? Like people are trading billions of dollars in gold around the world, every week. Where is it? It's meant to be, ounce for ounce. The gold the people are trading. Where is it actually sitting? And he questions it like we've questioned it. Where is it? Where? No one has claimed to be sitting on the pile of gold that is backing all of the world's trade on it. And for everyone out there, just in case you didn't know, the only gold that's ever been mined would fill 3 Olympic swimming pools. It's not more than that. Coal, on the other hand, would probably lightly dust the entire continental US in 2, 3, 4 meters of coal.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But gold, no. It's only quite small. The quantity, it's worth a bit now. But the people who are meant to be in control of the gold, who probably rig the cost of the gold or the price of the gold for trading, so they can profit more. Maybe even China's reduced being part of reducing the cost, so they can own more of it. because of a shift in the balance of power on the globe. I don't know, Mickey.
Simply Red just said you can't eat gold. Well, and I was going to say this. I think they've eaten it. I think they've eaten the gold. And why I do that sounds crazy, Mickey. You must be crazy. Not really. So what we've had a number of shows on monatomic gold. We believe it is in fact mana or mifkit or the ambrosia or the elixir of life. I don't care what you call it, but it is apparently a substance that can protect and rebuild your telomeres. Ooh, that's good stuff. Yes, it is, because it means it can bring you a vastly increased lifespan, potentially even immortality. So gold has to undergo a certain process. We've described it, and not just we're not the only ones who have. And for the longest time, we believe alchemists have been trying to do that, refining and refining and refining again certain substances until they come to the prime substance, materia prima, or the stone of the philosophers, or whatever you want to call it, right? And we believe that white gold powder is in fact that prime substance, right? It has got very strange properties by all accounts. It in fact completely disappears at a certain temperature, right? Completely. And sorry, not simply right. I mean, you can actually eat it once it has transformed into a monatomic state, and not just gold, but platinum can do it as well, and other elements in the noble
platinum group. Yep.
Yeah, that's correct. So they can also be transformed into this monatomic state. So that's why, in fact, gold has always been so important throughout the ages. That's why the gods wanted the gold. That's why they wanted us to mine it for them, right? And then we had, like I said, a whole show cycle on this. If you guys have the time, maybe we'll actually. I think we have to repeat this one because that's one of the lost shows.
It is one of the lost shows. I wonder why it's lost show.
Yeah.
The people who own everything don't want people to know about this.
Yes, clearly.
So Mickey's right. You can eat it, and it is absorbed into the body. Unlike if you would just eat normal gold, it just comes out gold again.
Yeah,
that's all it does. Gold doesn't change from being gold unless it's monatomic. That's where it forgets how to be a metal. But honestly, we'll do a whole show on it. But this is where I was going with this, Mickey. Like the people who control the money, and we know there's very few of those, are about to get ousted.
Yep.
China wants to make its own money. That would throw out of the balance the entire money lending, the whole financial system we currently have. It would throw out all those people who had money. Let's still have money. Just buy new money. But they won't be in control. They won't be able to, endlessly make money like a heroin addict, for money. So some people that have been willing to, who knew too much and might have been a risk, have all been dying mysteriously. Falling out of buildings is a popular one for financial people. And it happened again 2 days ago. A New York investment banker jumped off a building. They're using the word jumped. I'll remain on the fence on it and suggest that they could have. It's easy to make someone fall off the balcony, but they landed on the vehicle and were decapitated upon hitting the ground or hitting the vehicle. Because only half their body hit the vehicle, and the other half. No, it doesn't matter. The guy's dead, and you don't come back from that. So dead men tell no tales. I'm thinking, with all of the other bankers, you Google it. Google it for yourself and see how many people have mysteriously died, and those people are in the know. It's not a surprise, Mickey, is it, to see that they would just axe a few?
Oh,
that might be a bit risky. So because they don't care about us. That's the thing. They don't care. It's the general just sending another 1,500 men to die. Who cares? He doesn't care. If he cared, he wouldn't send them.
Yes. Putting people in harm's way basically tells you about that person's mindset. So think, okay, harm's way, that's bandied about a lot. It essentially means you're sending people out to get shot, blown up, tortured, missing in action, injured, horribly disfigured, and all kinds of other things that could happen to them in harm's way. Does anybody care? No. The people that send them don't care. They make a big hoo-ha about the moral imperative, a morally just war. I actually did philosophy, believe it or not, for many years. What a shock! And it was the good war, or a morally right war, a morally good war, is one of the most hotly debated topics amongst philosophers. Is there such a thing as a good war? People would say, well, World War II was a good war. Well, no, not really, because we didn't really know what Hitler was doing until, we discovered the camp. So in hindsight, yes. In hindsight, it was a good war, if you will, to some extent, I guess. Never mind all the other people that died. But we didn't know that. So I don't think there's any war in the history of the world that is a good war. Because people will die, and people will suffer, and it will damage generations of children and nations. So it is a very strange world we live in, where these things are being debated. But I can assure you that the people in charge, that the people in power that do send people into harm's way, have none of these qualms. They have none of these philosophical hiccups or questions. For them, it's clearly a question of, well, gotta conquer that country. Yep, sounds good to me. Let's send them in on Friday.
That's how many do you have? We have 20 million, sir. Send them in.
Send them in now.
Who cares? That ain't care, right?
We're not even talking about the supervillains sitting in big chairs, stroking, their feline companion.
We're not talking about those.
We're just talking about people that have been elected for the most part.
To be the leader.
And suddenly they go psycho, and everyone's going to follow the damn, idiot.
Yeah.
And haven't we, all of our countries have examples of that kind of thing occurring. And it doesn't really matter who, when it was, who or when it was, but we've all got examples. And, the Bush Jr. wasn't particularly clever. I don't think he was particularly clever. And I feel, as all the information we've seen to hand so far, that he acted from 9/11's point of view, and just to try and please his daddy. Try and finish what his daddy had done. For no other reason. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see.
What do you mean sound is off,
Mickey?
Yes, sir.
What's that?
I'm getting an echo double feed. Very strange. I've been getting this before in the past, just before I get dropped. So, it's very strange. Again, we might be interfered with yet again, even though we haven't really stepped on any toes today, I don't think. Oh, well, maybe a couple.
I've said tons of stuff.
What does it matter?
We're just two people, and we're just looking at stuff that's already on the internet.
That's correct.
And we have an opinion like everyone else, and I don't. When I look at all the other people's opinions, I don't think we're. We don't have to wear that thicker aluminium foil hat. But look, we do it for you. We're looking at the stuff for you, and if you like it, it's fine. It's fine with us. Mackie, but you know what? We talk about all this stuff, right? And I talk about it with workmates and things like that, and friends and people I've just met, and someone in a shopping queue, and so many people have been programmed to ask the wrong questions.
Yes.
They love their little triangle of workshops at home. They don't want to know anything outside of that. Doesn't matter as long as it doesn't affect me. Is it going to affect me? This MH17 thing? Whatever you're talking about? What are you talking about? What? I go, well, no, it's not really going to affect you. It affects your future. If they're willing to do that, and they're willing to do 9/11, and they're willing to lie about that, and they're sending live anthrax spores around the world.
By mistake.
So what is it that's not going to affect you about these things?
Look, the truth is it doesn't affect you until it does, at which point it is too late. Okay, you must make your stand while it doesn't affect you directly. Of course it affects you, but you don't feel it. It doesn't really affect your day. You still watch your TV, whatever, the big screen like Dave, 65 inches, whatever. So it doesn't, and I get that. I get it. And, Dave, I have the same experience with people when I talk to them. I shared with you some of the very strange experiences someone that I know had regarding light appearing in their room.
Yes.
They just put it out of their mind. I mean, think about it. This is a life-altering event, isn't it? You're lying in bed with your partner, and all of a sudden your room is brightly lit, but there's no visible light source. There's no shadow. The light doesn't bleed out of your room. You get up, you look outside, the light is still there. It's bright enough to wake you in the first place, and that's happened twice within the space of a couple of months. That doesn't change your life? It should. But it doesn't have to.
It really should. But what do they do? They turn it off. They turn off their thinking about it and go, well, that's just something. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
We don't need to worry about that.
It's probably a hallucination brought on by inhaling too much swamp gas. It's a placebo effect, clearly. But guys, I don't want to be flippant here, but I mean, this happens all the time. We're being taught all the time. The sky looks very strange, Dave. I don't know if you have a chance to look at the sky, but it's a very orange, very strange sky. Sorry to digress. We are being taught systematically to disregard the unusual. We're taught about Occam's razor without anyone ever telling us what the simplest explanation actually is. And who determines what the simplest explanation is? We're talking about common sense. Common meaning, something that is inherent in everyone, or most at least. It's a common understanding of things. We go to the schooling system to be taught everything that we know. The school teaches you nothing. The school makes you regurgitate a whole bunch of stuff in dusty books. A lot of schools have admitted, and a lot of educational officials have admitted that the school books are out of date by 10, 20, 30 years. It just costs too much to reprint them. It costs too much. Well, that's all right then. I mean, it's like, okay, think about it this way. There's a whole bunch of Nazi textbooks left in Germany, right, after World War II. Like millions of them, right? And then children are still being taught in the 1970s and 80s from these books. That didn't happen, but I'm just giving you an example. Why? Why is that? It's just too expensive to reprint them. So we still, we look at Jews as non-human, and you still have phrenology, which is the study of skulls. That's all good. What's wrong with that? That's perfectly valid.
That is funny.
It's the same thing. So so we have now come to a point where we are so brainwashed, most of us, in fact, including Dave and myself. The things is, I have blind spots. I don't know what they are. I'm sure you have them as well, Dave. I mean, I'm sure there are things I just can't perceive or can't conceive of.
Yes.
Because of my upbringing and my environment, And that's a shame, because I look sometimes at my daughter, and she stares off into space, and dogs and cats do the same thing. And what is it that they see and I can't see? Clearly something that's been brainwashed out of me.
I was showing my friend about the double slit experiment. It's one of my favorites. Mickey, you know this, right?
It is, of course.
Yeah. And I said, there are electrons, and they're being fired through two slits. But what happens is, you see, we know it's an electron, so it's a particle, but for some reason it ends up as a waveform, as an interference waveform behind the two slits on the rear wall. And he says, that's okay, because that's what we expect, right? And he's like, well, actually no, we don't expect that. That's highly unusual. When did it turn from a particle into a wave? To become a wave, to then have an interference pattern. That means, if it's an electron, that means that atoms are waves. The energy of atoms are waves. And they interfere with each other. And that makes nothing solid. Yeah. Right. Okay. So I said, well, that's unusual. But if you try to watch which hole it goes through, which of the two slots, it turns back into a particle. He says, no, the equipment's faltering. It's something wrong. Something wrong with it, right? I said, no. There's nothing interfering with the travel of the particle. And even if you unplug it and stop recording data, as long as the machine is on looking at it, the moment you're not recording the data, but the machine is still on, it goes back to being a wave. Then you plug it in, it turns into a particle, you unplug it, it's back to a wave again. It knows what you're doing. And he goes, that's coincidence. I said, okay, that's... I'm not the one doing the experiment. This is physics
professors and students doing this experiment for the last 70 years have come up with the same thing.
And they all think
there's something wrong.
It can't be both of them,
and it can't know that you're looking at it.
But
it does.
Yep.
Then I said,
well, if you don't
believe me,
Google it.
Go and look it up.
Look at the most popular people today in physics and see what they say about it. And he got back to me. And he couldn't believe it. He said,
What?
You were right.
You were right.
I said, I know. I'm just telling you what they said.
I thought you were making a story up.
No, I'm not making a story up. It doesn't make sense. And it means it's all like I keep making that comparison.
You see a sort of glimmer in the corner of the room.
You walk up to it
and you find you can peel it back. And you're living in a hologram.
Mm-hmm. That is what this
is to physics.
Because we could do everything else. Calculate everything the way everything was working,
and then suddenly this doesn't make any sense.
And I said the whole quantum world
doesn't
make sense.
It's almost like we've discovered the hologram.
And he's a big Star Trek fan too.
And he's a big Star Trek fan too.
And he still doesn't get it.
And he still doesn't get it.
And that's we're almost at the top of the hour here. Mm-hmm. When the music comes on, come back, guys. We've got a few more things to discuss with you. We're going to talk about the nuclear reactor that's 2 billion years old, and we're going to talk about some of the debunking methods as well. But bear in mind that this quantum mechanics or quantum physics doesn't make sense to us as we understand the world. You have to always put it into context. In 50, 100, 200 years, 250 years time, we may be able to understand it, or maybe if we are getting freed from our fleshy, meaty prisons, we'll have capacity to understand it. Because if you look at it from a quantum point of view, the wave is the only reality there is. And because that means everything exists. It's multiverse. Every outcome of every position, of every electron, of every spin, of every polarity exists at the same time. Okay? And one is not chosen over the other and becomes a reality. They all exist. We just choose to look at one state. And that state, I think, is determined by what we expect to see. Okay, guys? I know this is hard to wrap your mind around, but bear with me. We see what we expect to see. Every outcome exists. The others don't disappear. They still exist. We just are aware of the one that we have chosen to see. Mm-hmm. Okay? The reality function wave, as it were, collapses into one. And there's... Donate if you can.
That's
please.
True. He's absolutely right.
That's true. He's absolutely right.
The
whole ocean is made of particles, and yet they can form a wave. But when you're sending a single particle down, it can't form a wave. It's just a particle. Think about that in the break. While you're donating money.
To the station, of course.
To the station, of course.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
This is Thomas, a.k.a. a Mad Painter. I'd like you to join me Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Open Canvas. Don't forget to bring an open mind.
Yes, folks, that's right. Bring an open mind to an open canvas. Again, that is Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. UFOs to government corruption. This is Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here. Is your data safe? Do you have the necessary information to assist you in confidently living through just about any survival situation? Is survival and gardening, off-grid living, medical knowledge, or even natural or man-made EMPs on your list of personal concerns? Do you have your documents and your personal information in a safe place in your hands where you know where it is? Well, check out our preloaded EMP-proof thumb drive. Over 3 gigs of survival documents and how-tos, plus the USDA offline food preservation website, and much, much more, including a surprise bonus we just can't tell you about here. With plenty of room left over to store your most important documents. Imagine if a megavirus or computer failure took out your bank, or all the banks for that matter. Are your banking records safe in your hands? So when they get things fixed and repaired, you can say, hey, look, this is what I had. You have it. I want it back. Is your personal data safe? Family records, addresses, phone numbers? Well, squeeze on over to freedomslips.com. Yes, that's www.freedomslips.com. Click the banner on the homepage for the EMP-proof bullet drive to get the full scoop of everything that we offer. So, folks, keep your data safe for your peace of mind. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
On the go? Still want to listen? Don't have one of those fancy phones with too many buttons. Don't know what an app is? Or you don't even care? Well, we got you here at Revolution Radio. Now you can dial in 24/7 to listen to our shows. We have a number for Studio A and Studio B, and best of all, it's free. Don't forget, the carrier charges for your cell phone provider may apply, though, so check with your cell provider to make sure. So ready? Here you go. Get a pen. Here's the number. Studio A is 712-432-6958, and Studio B is 716-748-0112. Thank you very much for listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station in the world. The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Hello and welcome back to Dave and Mackie's Shiny Side Out Show 170-07T and 100. We're talking about a whole bunch of stuff, mostly news items and items that need to be discussed here with you guys, specifically around quantum physics. Earthquakes and a few bankers falling to their death and one of them being beheaded while he was doing it. I'm sorry, it's not funny. But I don't like bankers. Never have, never will.
Maybe he did on the way down.
Maybe he did on the way down.
To himself.
To himself.
It's one of those things. Don't like politicians either much. I'm still investigating whether or not it's worthwhile starting my own political party here in Australia, and I think I will. If you do want to support me, I'm going to start a Facebook page very soon. Need to understand exactly how many signatures I require and so forth, but please come and like it. Come and support us, if you will, as well. I mean, Dave may be part of that if he wishes to. I mean, we've spoken about this, but I'm still awaiting an affirmative, and I'll call it Fix Australia. And then when we run for world government, which will happen soon enough, it'll be Fix the World, Fix their world,
Fix
and then
the
Fix
world.
their
Fix the world.
But yeah, so look, we were just talking about quantum physics. Just very quickly recap. All realities are coexistent within the quantum form, as we like to call it, and then they collapse into one single reality upon observation. However, what is being observed depends on what the observer expects. I know it's completely incongruent, and it doesn't really look at the universe as a little lab experiment. It means we are completely and utterly immersed and involved with all of the universe. We are connected to it. And Dave is right. At the lowest level of everything, there is no reality. There is no substance. Okay, most of the substance that we see here is an illusion. Okay, an electron never touches another electron. All right, believe it. And the quantum world certainly shows us that. And it is very, very difficult. Trust me, I know it. Okay, I have still some issues wrapping my mind around all of the implications of that. But essentially, it boils down to this: we are responsible for our realities. Oh no, that's not true. I'm a victim. Yeah, sure you are. You're a victim. No, you choose to be a victim. I know that's harsh. I get it. But overall, and I think we have help in being programmed a certain way as well, right? So, I'll give you a little bit of that victim statement. But we're becoming aware. I think, Dave, we are all becoming a lot more aware these days. That's why this radio station exists. That's why you're listening to the show. Because you're becoming aware.
That is so true. The thing
that is so true
that I like about all of this.
That I like about all of this. And this is...
This lends pretty closely
to where we're going with the show topic today. And that is...
When my friend... In his disbelief that why I was telling the truth... I said, there's a Nobel Prize waiting for the person who can tell us why the particle changes from a particle to a wave and back to a particle when observed. Sorry, back to a wave when observed. When not observed, when not observed, it's a particle. It's a particle. Now, that is what turned his head. When I said there's a Nobel Prize in it for you or anyone else that can prove why it does it. We can see it doing it. We have observed the irregularities in it. No one can say why. Now, you can't say why. Say like 30 cats in a ring. Like 30 cats in a ring would walk around or do things. You can't tell us why because we don't know why they're doing it. They're individuals. They can do what they like. That's the difficulty with this. Because we have no way of discovering. We don't know. We don't know. So we just don't know. When he was attempting to tell me that I was just making the whole thing up. Just making the whole thing up. You're not a debunker, I said, well, you're not a debunker, well, what do you mean debunker? He says, I'm a realist. Well, what do you mean debunker? He says, I'm a realist. I said, you name your conspiracy. You name your conspiracy. Because I don't believe in them. Because I don't believe in them. I know who you are now. What do you believe in? Well, what do you believe in? I think all those people are nuts. I think all those people are nuts. Okay. Really? You didn't know what I did for a living. Okay. You didn't know what I did for a living. I said, look... I think the most important thing is... I think the most important thing is... How did JFK die? How did JFK die? And I said, that's good, that's been determined. And I said, that's good, that's been determined. And by whom? He said, didn't the guy go to prison? I said, what, you mean a courtroom full of people decided that the magic bullet was the only way that it could have been done? The magic bullet doesn't exist. The magic bullet doesn't exist. More than one shot hit him. With a delay of seconds. You tell me, what do you really believe? And he goes, oh, when you put it like that. I said, well, it was put like that to the jury. In a courtroom. And they'd all back down from making a decision. And chose the magic bullet as the only option. Why was it the only option? Because they didn't want the real information to be public. Because they didn't want the real information to be public. That's the only answer. So, the debunking starts. It starts when we're told one story or it's hidden, and the people try and make up an excuse for why it's there. So if I saw a light in the sky, flying across the horizon from one horizon to the other, someone would say, "Oh, that's just a." What would a debunker tell me? What would a debunker tell me?
Clearly, you're suffering from some kind of swamp gas-induced hallucination, probably brought on by your frontal lobotomy.
I like that one. Swamp gas. It was Venus. And I saw a satellite. Anything but what I suggest it might be. Even though I don't know and I'm plucking at straws.
And this is the key thing here, guys, and I think Dave is going there as well. None of the stuff we postulate is written in stone, and this is probably the most important thing to say here. We don't know most of the stuff. We know what we experience. Dave has got certain experiences. Yep. He knows what he knows. Yep. Okay. And if somebody asks me this, you know all the stuff that Dave says, is that true? And I said, I don't know. Do I believe that Dave believes is true? Yes, absolutely. But I wasn't there. But I believe Dave. There's no reason for Dave to lie to me. Yep. I do believe that Dave believes it. Do you know what I mean? This is the difference here, and I can't say for sure because again I haven't been there. So I'm not a doubting Thomas, but certainly I'm in the same situation where if I haven't been there, I can't make a comment, an intelligent comment. But I will stand for Dave's integrity, and say Dave believes that these things have happened, and there's no reason for him to lie. Because trust me, we are not getting paid for this.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I have to say, I wrote it down.
I wrote it down, and I've got a book, and I'm holding it up in front of the camera. I wrote my experiences down.
That's all I did.
That's all I did.
And I was told that I was wrong.
And I was told that I was wrong.
That was what I was told.
That was what I was told. I was told, no, you're wrong.
You mean my
What
perspective?
am I wrong about?
What I saw,
you mean my perspective? What I saw and everything I know is in there as a he said, she said.
Well, what's
I know you're wrong.
Well, what's right?
Well, everything that other than what you said.
Fair enough. That's kind of
an argument.
Well, that's
but it's
an
not,
argument.
That's just,
but it's not.
That's your
that's just.
too,
That's
why
your
would I not
perspective
argue
too.
you're wrong?
Why would I not argue you're wrong?
But you can't argue with that. I mean, again, like we said earlier, I think before the show, Dave and I discussed this. If people come from completely different platforms, it is impossible to have an intelligent conversation. I'll give you an example. I've given this example many times before. It is the most illustrative that actually happened to me. I was on a train 20-something years ago, maybe longer, going into the city of Sydney and with my buddies, and we're just talking and we're just feeling very philosophical and so forth, talking about dinosaurs and whatever, a whole bunch of stuff. And apparently the people in front of us overheard us and turned around and going to say, that's all wrong. And I said, okay, what is all wrong? Oh, all this dino stuff and fossils and all that, and and all these things. Okay, all right, that's interesting. We do have methods of dating this stuff. There's relative and absolute dating. I wasn't as familiar with dating as I am today, but I made the argument for radiocarbon dating and whatnot, right? And incidentally, one of the things we discussed with you today will have an implication for that as well. And I said, well, they have been dated at several millions of years. In fact, 65 million years, 100 million years. And then that person had turned around to interject into our conversation, said something that opened my eyes to a whole new universe of arguing. God made it that way. That's it. End of argument. There's nothing further to be said. God made the dinosaur bones old. And I thought to myself, wow, this is checkmate. Boom. There's nothing I can say. It's okay. Right, you win. And this is when you have an argument or discussion or a conversation with someone that has a completely different worldview to yourself. It's not a bad thing, but it's also not meaningful. You cannot talk to someone like that.
True.
It really isn't. Yeah.
That is so true. Area code.
That is so true. Area code
225.
225.
Welcome to Shiny Side Out.
Welcome to Shiny Side Out.
Hello.
Hello, area code 225.
Hello, area code 225. Can you hear me?
Maybe not. Maybe it was a misdial.
That's right. I'll drop it. So
that's right. I'll drop
now,
it. So
you're right, Mickey.
Now
You're
right, Mickey. And this is. But when
that wasn't targeted.
That wasn't targeted. That
just
was
a different belief system.
Just a different belief system.
Where that was the only thing.
That was the only thing that they were taught.
Their brain started going, hang on,
that can't be right because I'm taught this.
And we're taught something different.
And that was
the clash of the education.
And that was the clash of the education system
and belief system. So you're right, Mickey.
And belief system.
What's the other kind of debunker?
What's the other kind of debunker that we have?
We politely call them the armchair.
Politely call them the armchair debunker.
Yeah, the armchair, the pseudo-skeptic, right? But it's there's a vast field of debunkers out there, or people that believe they should tell us how it is, and sometimes it's a misguided thing. We've been flamed on Facebook, and I'll be going to the text in a moment, Dave, but we've had flaming sessions on Facebook and other sites as well, where people took it upon themselves to show us the error of our ways. And I'm always astonished. I mean, are you a paid agent? Is someone paying you to do this, or I mean, are we offending you so much? Are we offending you so much that you have to interject and tear everything down we're trying to say? The answer is yes. we must offend them that much.
Yes, we must, but we don't know whether they're paid or not. But we don't know whether they're paid or not. And the other question that comes up is,
what is it that they're trying to tear down? Now, wait a second, we have another caller.
Area code 760.
Area code 760. Go ahead, you're on Shiny Side Out. Welcome aboard.
Hey guys, great show. You're keeping me awake. This is Bill Grant.
Oh, hi Bill.
Oh, hi Bill.
You're a first-time caller.
Hey, real quick.
You're a first-time caller.
Me third time, second or third time. First time tonight though. That was not me. 215 was not me.
Yeah, that's okay. So what do you have?
This whole thing.
So what do you have?
Well, with the double slit experiment, there are a bunch of theories about that. But now, first of all, how would that affect our observance, our view of the universe? You know, first of all, looking out with telescopes, etc., and try to use the double slit experiment in CERN. Now, how do you think that would come out?
That's a good question. So for the
like
first
in your
one,
mind,
yeah. So to your first question, I think in the macro world, the observing entity, which is us, again, I think we will see whatever it is that we expect to see. I don't think we'll see any great things that are completely mysterious to us or things that we can't explain necessarily. Having said that, there's of course dark matter and all that. But I don't think it works on a macro level. And I don't know why it doesn't work on a macro level. You know, the double slit experiment. Like if we, you know, it has to be in the microscopic scale for some reason. But having said that, it is clear that it very much and fundamentally affects the building blocks of our reality, and that's why I keep saying that it is the building blocks of our reality that are completely arbitrary, and they're completely open for us to change. You know, and we have every power within us to change them, but we don't, because we've been indoctrinated to do something else, right? To believe something else. And as for the CERN thing, I know Dave likes to talk about CERN, but I would love to see the double slit experiment conducted at CERN as well.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If it's a wave, it can't be traveling around in circles, and it would be going the speed of light, and none of the particles would be able to mix as particles. They can't collide because they're waves. They just pass right through each other, and the speed is all wrong, and gravity wouldn't affect them the same. So I'm sure they know the answer, and it hasn't come up with the CERN people yet that I know of. And I've never gotten an answer from anybody that I've ever asked. So when they're a wave, they'd have to be traveling at light speed, right? I don't actually think they are, but maybe. And it's just a question I wanted to throw out there. But I'll let you guys get on with the show. And great show.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
Because,
I'll answer your question because
at CERN. They're going pretty fast.
They're going pretty fast. But the double slit experiment isn't performed at light speed.
That's easy. It's easier.
That's easy. It's easier.
So
stated like that.
Because we don't have something that can fire an electron. It's fast,
at light speed.
Not quite light speed.
It's fast, but it's not quite light speed.
But in CERN, they're trying to smash some particles together.
If particles turned into a wave in CERN, you're right, they would just pass straight through each other. And yet I think they know the answer, whatever it is, but whether
maybe they can control it with magnetic field.
Maybe they can control it with magnetic field.
I know they're doing that. But I don't know what that does to it.
But I don't know what that does to it. So it's a very good question. I think we'll have to do some research.
Yeah, no, I agree. And thank you. And again, appreciate the calling, guys, and the support, because it gets a bit lonely. I'm sitting here in my study, and Dave is sitting in his man cave. And as far as we're concerned, we may not be talking to anyone at all.
Yeah. Hi, Mum. Yeah.
Hi, Mum.
The only listener.
Yeah. The only listener. And she's the late, very late
Maggie,
my mum.
This is the thing that gets me, right?
This is the thing that gets me, right? So we've had the flaming, we've been flamed, we've been
defriended, defriended.
We certainly know.
We certainly know
strategies. And when we started
being to be debunked, we put a call out there for debunkers to come on and debunk the stuff we talk about.
We haven't,
because
we haven't, unless we've seen all the information.
Unless we've seen all the information,
judgment for ourselves.
We can't make a judgment for ourselves.
And
are we making the right judgment? I don't know. Some other people might be doing the same thing, but they've come from a different angle.
225 is
225.
Area code 225. Go ahead.
Area code 225. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was calling to listen. I apologize. I have the wrong number.
Yeah, this isn't the call in to listen.
Yeah, this isn't the call in to listen number. This is
to be on air.
You're on air. To be on air. You're on air right now.
Y'all, sorry. Hey.
That's okay.
You're more than welcome. Take care.
You're more than welcome. Take care.
So. This is what started.
This is what started us looking into. Well, what are the strategies of debunking?
Yeah, look, this, and we've put something together for you guys, and we give them to you in tandem once again. Mm-hmm. So there are some rhetorical, meaning strategies that are used in everyday wordsmithing for the debunkers. There is a subtle misrepresentation of the target. Okay, it's seemingly designed to create in the reader a negative impression of the target. The target here being the researcher, of course, that is being debunked.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Comments that appear designed to disparage the motivations of the developers
of the target approach.
Citing research in such a way through subtle distortion and selective attention to detail as to imply that it provides scant support of the target method. I just have to say something to this here.
Go ahead.
We did this.
Go ahead.
This happened to us. Okay? We were talking about Lloyd Pye's research and specifically around the child skull and the genetic evidence that had come out and so on and so forth. And we said this on Facebook and we said, oh, well, there's some evidence here, guys. What do you think? And this guy came back at us and quoted me specifically out of context, right? And kept harping on the one thing. Okay, and then he would give me a link to another site rather than making the argument himself on Facebook. He would give me a link to another site, so I go to the site, I read it all, and the site that he gives me a link to actually ends up agreeing with my point of view. So I post that back to the chat, right? So I post that very last argument back from the moderator of that site.
Yes.
Yeah.
I post it back.
Yes.
And I say, well, this is the site you sent me right now to rebut my argument. So what I'm saying to you is, this is your argument defeating yourself. Completely ignored that and went on to send me more links to things that didn't have any bearing on our argument, right?
And to make it in some cases, it was the headline story that they were throwing at us.
That they were throwing at us.
And it wasn't the content of the story.
And it wasn't the content of the story, because the content agreed with us.
They're saying, but you're wrong.
They're saying, but you're wrong.
Well, did you read the story? But everyone knows that's true.
Oh, yeah, but everyone knows that's true.
I love that quote. Everyone knows.
I love that quote. Everyone knows.
What? You and the person who wrote the headline.
You and what? The person who wrote the headline.
And everybody else.
And there's a very steep aggression against something that goes against what they think to be true. It's very steep.
It's very steep.
Yeah, that's so funny.
That's so funny because
when you start to fuel,
you don't feed
the trolls, right?
You don't feed the trolls, right? That was our lesson.
Don't feed the trolls.
Don't feed the trolls.
When you start to feed them,
when you start to feed them,
you don't get any more information.
You don't get any more information.
No, you don't.
Because that's what we wanted.
Because that's what we
politely said.
We politely said over maybe 30 times.
We requested. Nicely, right?
Nicely.
Really? You don't believe it's true?
Really? You don't believe it's true?
You said that. The fact is that the
fact is that the DNA isn't.
Well, show us
human
you
or whatever.
Think that's,
well, show us where
you
think that's.
Provide the link, because obviously a link.
Provide the link, because obviously a link.
With that information.
Provide us the link with that information in it. We'll read it and we'll go. Oh, okay.
What happened?
What happened?
Nothing. That's the thing. And no. They were cited. Yeah, there was exactly. We are wrong. Of course, some of the DNA was human. Yes, that is correct. But so is some of the chimpanzee DNA. In fact, chimpanzees are more closely related to us than the Star Child. unfortunately named so. Okay, and Lloyd Pye himself didn't want to name it Star Child.
That's correct.
It happened. I mean, what happened.
That's correct.
This is now history. So, it was clear to us that an intelligent conversation could not be had, and I defriended that person because I just don't need the aggravation in my life, right? But it's probably the longest exchange we've ever had on the internet, Dave, right?
It is, and it wears you down.
It is, and it wears you down.
It wears you. Honestly, you think it's just going to be something
honestly,
really,
you think it's just going to be something really, hapless. Like they go, I don't believe you go. Yeah,
it doesn't end there.
But it doesn't end there.
You send back Ren's information, and they just ignore everything.
And they just ignore everything.
So. This is where we put this. This
the position we were in when we started. The position we were in when we started.
And I have to say, this is my point.
And I have to say, this is my point coming up here. The selective citation of references so as to support the author's narrative.
And only component parts of citations, right?
Yeah, that's it. Selective citation.
Well, that's it. Selective citation.
I liked the one that we were going
against the. My favorite was the Ancient Aliens Pumapunku site.
The only thing they could come up with debunking that was that they mentioned the stone inaccurately. Not the right angles, not the H blocks,
not the right angles, not page blocks, not the age of the whole site, not the fact that the whole thing's been put into ruins, and we still don't know. And there's another one underneath Titicaca. Why is Lake Titicaca salt water? Probably because it was washed over during the last major impaction on the Earth by
whatever the cause was, there was a significant town there,
and they would look like metallurgists, and it was a foundry of some kind. They didn't have metallurgy then.
All of those parts of that discussion and they chose the single and only word in there, which was the description of the kind of rock. It was actually not kind of rock. It was the toughness rating of the rock.
Everybody makes mistakes. Yeah.
That was the only thing.
This is crazy. Yeah. This is actually.
Don't believe anything Ancient Aliens says because they named the rock incorrectly.
We could go through school books, and I can open up any school books and find 10 things wrong with it in half an hour. Okay, so therefore you can't believe anything that's in that book. Clearly, right? That's the lesson here. This actually goes us to the next point, which is one of the strategies for debunking, which is seemingly cautious attention to scientific detail, and methodology at certain points is combined with sweeping and unsubstantiated generalizations of other points. Right? So that's exactly it. So you got it wrong about that stone. It's not as the Mohs scale is. You said 5. It's really a 6. Therefore, none of what you said is true, and the aliens didn't exist, and there's no Pumapunku. In fact, it's a holograph. That's what it is. It's a holographic projection.
Everybody knows it's a holograph.
Everybody knows it's a holograph.
It's made from guano. That's right. That's bird poo for those that don't know, guys.
That's right.
That's right.
The other one is presenting a theory.
The other one is presenting a theory or theories or sets of hypotheses regarding
the mode of action of a therapeutic method. That's
the
appeal of the
method to its practitioners, including their motives and cognitive emotional processes, and see the motives and mental processes of the developers or promoters of the method, but without making clear what these hypotheses or theories are.
That's a lot to say.
It is a lot to say, but essentially what it means it is combabulating. It's discombobulating your critical faculties. So by overloading you with a whole bunch of hokum and pokum. So by giving you a whole bunch of theories and hypotheses, right? But never actually saying that that's exactly what they are, theories and hypotheses, and taking them as scientific fact. Boom.
Yep.
There it is. Now it's fact. Fact.
I love how they use the word fact.
They always use the word fact. They always use the word fact in a sentence.
Oh, no. You clearly don't understand. Everybody knows. Okay, sure. I know who you are now. Thank you.
Next.
A dogmatic assertion, this is my favorite, of what is and what is not to be termed science. People roll out the pseudoscience and, he's not really a scientist. I don't know if you guys, I've mentioned this before, there was an argument that was had between, or a little debate between Robert Schoch, the geologist, Harvard geologist, that thinks this thing is very, very old, and Mark Lehner and Zahi Hawass of the Egyptian Institute of Egyptian Studies in Cairo. And the person that wasn't allowed there, and I forget his name now, and this is an embarrassment, but he was actually the guy that got Robert Schoch into Egypt. He was not allowed to take part because he wasn't a scientist. And not only that, clearly, what is science and what is not science is only up to the people that have the the mantle or the aura or the authority given to them by some university. That is science and that is not. That's completely unacceptable. Because in the olden days, science was essentially just a quest to find the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're doing here, right? Like philosophy in a way, right?
That's right.
So scientific philosophy. So science goes out there, does experiments, and the empirical method has yielded some excellent results.
Did you know in a study, Mickey? They did a study of all of the great inventions ever done, for instance, at universities by any science type person. Yeah, iScience. It's a joke. And they found that more revelations in science have occurred by the students and not by the professors. Once they reached professordom, once they became the professor of their field, they no longer took part in any experiments at all. Nothing groundbreaking because they closed the books. Thinking they knew everything. Those people who didn't know are the ones that there were limits are the ones who make the discoveries.
That's correct.
That is absolutely true.
That
is absolutely
true.
Look,
this is the thing. I mean, in fact, most of the scientific discoveries, not most, quite a number of the scientific discoveries, like the groundbreaking ones, were made either by accident, by scientists, or they were, in fact, made by non-scientists. Again, my favorite example of that is Schliemann. Heinrich Schliemann, German dude, if you will, a man about town, read the Iliad and Homer's Iliad, and goes, Homer tells us exactly where Troy is. Troy is here. Troy is over there in Asia Minor, which is Turkey today. So he went there and started digging where Homer had told him it is, and lo and behold, he found a city. In fact, he found 7 cities on top of each other, which we now know to be Troy. And he was derided by the archaeological community of his day. He was an amateur, a dilettante, and nonetheless, there he was, he did it. And other scientists as well, or non-scientists for that matter, go out there into the world, and you know what? You know why they can do what they do? Because they have nothing to lose.
That's right.
If you have a scientific career, and I went to uni myself, and it's all goodness, and it was clear to me that I had certain ideas which I put to paper, and this happened to be in my psychology class, and I was a first-year student, and I got a very poor mark, and I said, well, why do you mark me down? Well, you're not supposed to know this yet. Okay.
What?
What? Did you know this actually happened to me? So you're not supposed to know this yet. You're not answering the question within the framework of first year. I said, okay, right, my mistake, I'm sorry.
I'll dumb it down for you then, shall I?
But this was just a tiny little example that happened to me, but other things as well. I mean, science has become as dogmatic as religion, and maybe it had to, I don't know, to protect the people in it. And it's all about people. This is not, science is not some kind of pursuit outside itself, it's pursued by people. And whenever people are involved, you've got a self-interest as well. And the self-interest will govern what happens.
And we know funding gets them to where they are and keeps them where they are. And I know for a fact, I'm going to say it making fact, I've actually heard a physicist, one of the most well-known physicists on the planet, still alive today, and also a proponent of the double slit experiment. He said, if you want to keep in your job, you want to try to only achieve things that are achievable, and not chase down the unachievable or the unattainable. Don't chase it down. That's for the young kids. Don't chase it down. That's for the young kids. The young kids can do that because they've got nothing to lose. You're absolutely right.
You're absolutely right. See, this is the problem, guys. Science is well, not for all scientists, of course, right? But science is so vast now. Even if you're a chemist, biologist, I don't really care, or even a physicist, you have it no longer within your scope to know everything in your field. Not possible. Too much information. And all this cross-fertilization that used to happen in the olden days, that when you had these Allgemeingenie in German, which is like someone like a Renaissance man, who can dabble in every in every science, in every discipline, and they have something to say there, not just a man, but woman, of course, as well. Those people are no longer. I don't think they any longer exist. It's just not possible to do that. What we do need, though, direly, and very badly, is a cross-fertilization, where you have probably the best people sit together from completely different disciplines and look at a phenomenon and try to study it, like the way it happened at the what was it called? The shadow, not the shadow.
Montauk.
The Skinwalker.
Oh, Skinwalker, yeah.
The Skinwalker
ranch. Yeah.
That's what you need, this kind of level of scientific exploration. And of course, what they found was very disturbing. I'll leave it up to you to look it up. I had a few shows on that. So it is the debunking and the seemingly scientific basis of the debunking that bothers me and Dave a lot. Right? Science is there to push the limits, find new things, and follow every lead. Every lead. It's completely irrelevant if it doesn't fit within your worldview. In fact, good that it doesn't fit with your worldview. And people say, "Oh no," people shy away from experiments that show resistance to the scientific method, the empirical method, right? Well, some things, maybe some phenomena, when you talk about psychic phenomena, it's a pseudoscience, like parapsychology, pseudoscience. You talk about ancient aliens,
which is a derogatory term.
Which is a derogatory term.
But it's not. It just means that our scientific tools, empirical method and so forth,
unable to measure
it. So we need new ones, guys, new tools. I don't know what it is, all right, but I'm happy to help and work on it and get together and do whatever is required. But our tools are no longer sufficient, never have been really for those. See, we made this, again, we had a show on the mind and body separation. We've taken all the mind stuff, all the all the psychic phenomena and all that paranormal stuff. We've put it to one side, irrespective of the mountain of evidence that exists. Reincarnation, mountain of evidence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mountain.
Yeah? There's a lot of stuff out there, and you can't just debunk it. But let's see what what they say here, Dave, in the closing paragraph about the rhetorical strategies of debunking.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So that's the common factor?
So that's the common factor?
The common factor through these
the common factor through these
is prejudice.
Features is
an
prejudice.
Aggressive assertion of knowing
without the humbling necessity to find out.
I love that. So well worded.
That's so well worded.
This state of believing oneself
to know already is,
I suggest, a profound obstacle to free thought and inquiry. When it is harnessed to political and economic pressures towards degraded and depleted versions of cognitive behavioral therapy under the guise of evidence-based practice, the outlook for the once vibrant and unruly creativity of clinical psychology could be bleak indeed.
We're quoting, of course, a clinical psychologist, but this is true for all facets of science, for all fields of endeavor and study. Right? Guys, you can't. I mean, when did we become so complacent as to think, we've reached the end of knowledge? This is it. That's all. My head is full. I'm going home. Thank you.
Do you know what? Do you know what Einstein said?
Do you know what Einstein said?
The immersion.
He said the immersion
quantum theory
will
disrupt everything.
I've done.
Because he was at a point.
The first person ever in our history to have got an equation for everything.
He had it sorted. Before our capacity to be able to test half.
And he was still right. He was still right.
But this emergence
with that spooky action at distance.
A quote from the greatest mind on the planet at the
time. The quote is spooky action at a distance.
He couldn't explain it.
His
equations
didn't make it work.
It made his equations look bad.
But of course they're not.
the emergence of this thing was saying, well, you know what? Maybe you're wrong. I'm not wrong. My stuff is right. Look, it's good.
My stuff is right. Look, it's good.
And they go,
do you have an equation?
Nah.
And they go,
I don't even know what's going on.
I don't even know what's going on.
We've repeated it.
But we've repeated it.
We can repeat what we don't understand.
We can repeat what we don't understand, but we don't know why it's happening.
And
that's why the Nobel Prize is out there for them.
And
this is what he thought, that was going to lead to the debunking of all of his theories.
And it may be a little bit of paranoia.
And it may be a little bit of paranoia. And it made him go and re-question half of his stuff he was doing.
And the key thing here is to understand, but he did not go on a witch hunt either.
No.
Okay,
no.
So let's be clear here. He was not out to discredit all the quantum physicists. It's just caused a massive issue with the way we view reality. This is not a small thing, guys. Mm-hmm. If you think the Matrix movies were revolutionary, the disparance, the complete disconnectedness between the the relativity world that we live in, Einstein's universe, and quantum physics is much more alarming than any movie you've ever seen. Because there's absolutely nothing connecting the two, and in fact quantum physics is completely counterintuitive. So the large world that we inhabit here, I mean, relativity you can actually get. You can, trust me, you read it, you can actually get it. You understand why time dilation happens, okay? You understand why the speed of light is the limitation because of the increase of energy. If you look at the math, increase in energy and mass, right? So
that's right.
You become infinitely massive. Yeah.
The faster you go,
you can actually wrap your head around it. Okay, you can. It can be done. Trust me. You look at the quantum stuff, looking at completely separate objects which are the same in two separate places, which are the same. That doesn't make any sense. If you've got something happening to one thing, the same thing happens to the other thing instantaneously, meaning without any interval of time in between. So we've actually talked about the illusion of time and space. This is really fundamentally about our existence, guys. This is really where we're at. And oddly enough, a lot of really old religions predating the Abrahamic religions have absolutely no problem with that. There they go. That's exactly right.
I love that about them. That's right.
I love that about them. That's right.
It's a shocker if you think about it, Dave. I mean, the Hindus have no issue with any of this. They have no issue with aliens. They have no issue with space flight. They go, well, next, bored now.
That's right. Why are you still talking?
That's right. Why are you still talking?
I like their
religion because
they go, well, that's where our gods,
they go, well, that's where our
gods
are. They came from space.
And they knew a whole bunch of stuff we didn't know.
And they knew a whole bunch of stuff we didn't know. We wrote down what we could understand.
The first step in debunking,
the first step
to become a debunker,
is to immediately relinquish that
and establish your credentials by calling yourself either a skeptic or a scientist.
Yeah,
I'm a skeptic.
Yeah, I'm a skeptic.
That's qualified you to be a debunker.
That's qualified you to be a debunker.
Never mind that you are actually trying to impose your personal viewpoint on others. Rather than following the scientific process and applying critical thinking. Imagine that. Critical thinking to all sides of the argument. They look at something and go,
I'm just going to look at it from the bottom. I'm just going to look at it from the bottom.
Because I'll be able to know everything.
I'll be able to know everything's going on just from there.
And I'll say the bottom doesn't exist,
and I'll say the bottom doesn't exist, and there you go.
Actually, the best debunkers are those that don't even know their true identity. I'm serious. Having such poor critical thinking skills that they truly believe that they are exhibiting all the open-mindedness and mental sharpness of the true skeptic or scientist. And I've come across many of these guys. As such, some might reprimand me, or us here rather, for writing this short article, right? We're quoting again. Seeing it as a hazard to the serious debunkers' faith in themselves. Little chance of this, however, as the real top-notch debunkers have a force field of ignorance that is completely impenetrable. Completely.
That's absolutely true. Okay,
That's
next
absolutely true.
You'll need
only a few handy tools. This is to become a big debunker. The best method being a pseudo
will be to take some of the skeptic's best tools and misuse them.
If you haven't seen that before.
That vulnerable favorite
which
implies
that the simplest explanations is often the best.
The trick for the debunker is to take Occam's razor and use it not as a handy rule of thumb to aid critical thinking, but instead to impose it as a literal and immutable law of the universe, which immediately destroys your opponent's arguments. Immediately.
It's like that magic sword.
It's like that magic sword from South Park.
That's what it does. Don't worry that complicated things happen all the time, thus disproving the law of Occam.
Yeah.
That would make things complicated.
Yeah. But you can't have complicated
arguments when you're
just in case you're caught without your bag of tricks and cornered by a rabid pack of irrational pseudoscientists. I recommend busting out a move like I like to call the extraordinary Sagan. This is the poor Sagan's espouse with great enthusiasm and extraordinary claims require extraordinary
evidence. What's our answer to that?
Mackie, what's our answer to that?
Completely.
They need exactly the same kind
of evidence as anything else would.
That's right. What is extraordinary evidence anyway? This is like
and what's an extraordinary claim?
And what's an extraordinary claim?
I saw a light fly through the sky.
All right, I'm going to have to become some kind of nuclear physicist have flown next to it and taken photos from your camera, not mine.
No, I just saw a light in the sky. You tell me what it is.
I just saw a light in the sky. You tell me
what it is. I'm not claiming anything more than that.
I'm not claiming anything more than that.
Yeah, but you didn't see anything.
I did. I saw something.
But it wasn't what you thought it was.
But it wasn't what you thought it was because,
common
Occam's razor.
Now, next you should ignore the fact that a true scientist would say that all claims require the same proportion of evidence. As we've just said. The same proportion of evidence. The same.
Yeah.
The same. I don't care if you claim that the Earth is flat. You have the same burden of proof as everybody else. No extraordinary extra proof. Trust me. Someone might even point out that this statement isn't meant to be taken literally, but should be seen in terms of the acquired evidence of human experience. For example, if you know from past experience throughout your life that a ball falls down when you drop it, and then someone says their ball fell up yesterday, you would require evidence that of a proportion to prove the singular event or over the accumulated evidence of your life's experience. No, that's okay though. If you get that evidence, right?
Yeah,
just saying.
That's right.
Yeah, sure.
The best thing is you can apply this to all sorts of things.
You can apply this to all sorts of things inappropriately. Like the discovery of a secret chamber. Lost city or lost knowledge. Where the application of acquired knowledge is virtually without merit.
Oh, you found a secret chamber? Well, I in my life have never found a secret chamber.
So that means you haven't found one either.
Right. And I never lost a city.
How could you lose a city? They're big.
They're big.
Someone would have found it, Mickey.
Sure. Common sense would say it does.
That's right. No. Everyone knows that.
That's right. Everyone knows that.
Everybody does. There are plenty of other tools and techniques to be had. And mastered, of course. With the minimum of effort. Found a fraud or a badly performed experiment, immediately use guilt by association to apply this judgment to all researchers and theories in this particular line of inquiry. Did somebody earn some money or at least get a small grant for their research? Obviously, you can tar them with the brush of the con man, or at the very least, label them opportunists who are not at all interested in scientific integrity, because we all know that scientists and skeptics don't make any money. Now, we're quoting Graham Hancock, of course. Here, this is his article. Greg Taylor, I should say. We're quoting Greg Taylor of the Daily Grail, and Graham Hancock reposted it on his site. Clearly, because no scientist is at all interested in tenure or being funded, right, Dave? That doesn't happen.
That's right. I'm still laughing. The reason I'm laughing is because this is what happens. I love the rules for UFO debunkers.
I love the rules for UFO debunkers.
Go on. Give me the rules, all of them.
All right, all of them in a go. There's 4 rules.
All of them in a go. There's 4 rules. Number 1. Rule number 1 for rules of UFO debunkers. Don't bother me with facts. My mind is made up.
Rule number 2.
What the public doesn't know. I'm not going to tell them.
Yeah, I love that.
I love that.
If you can't attack the data, attack the people. It's easier.
Attack the people. It's easier.
So true.
Yeah. Anyone making any kind of UFO claim,
anyone making any kind of UFO claim, if they're going to make 1 cent from it, they're just making it. It's just a story.
Right.
Clearly.
That's it.
Do research by proclamation.
Do research by proclamation because investigation is much too much trouble.
I'm sorry. I'll give you the corollaries, okay? So these are the things that also apply here. The corollaries, okay? Absence of evidence is evidence of absence because looking is too much trouble. Uh-oh. All believers are liars. Clearly, Dave. All non-believers only tell the truth. Okay. Believers are only involved for the money. Non-believers turn over their money to charities. The proper way to do UFO document research is from one's armchair. Archival visits are too much trouble. Defame dead people, since one can't be sued for libel. Or libel?
Libel.
Of course, top secret code word, ultra, umbra, magic, etc. material would be referred in confidential secret or top secret documents. Right?
Yeah.
Only the Roswell newspapers had relevant material.
Wow.
So those are the corollaries for the UFO debunkers.
Do you know what? It is a crazy thing.
Do you know what? It is a crazy thing that we're in a situation where
this is happening.
Where this is
there's
happening.
People who they have no other time on their hands.
They have no other time on their hands but to
other people.
Shoot down other people
because it's going to affect their world.
Because it's going to affect their world. We've discovered it's because it affects their world. That's the only reason they're doing it.
They want their world to get better.
They want their world to get better. So either they want their name to become
I'm a debunker.
Something of I'm a debunker. That guy's a debunker. Do you know that guy's a debunker, Mickey?
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
He knows what he's talking about by proclamation.
He's a professional debunker.
I love that.
Does it say the debunkers can't make money?
Does it say the debunkers can't make money?
Cannot make money. No. In fact, they turn their money over to charities.
That's what they do. That's what debunkers
do. That's what debunkers do.
Because I was watching a show where a film crew filmed a UFO out the window of an aircraft.
Then they thought, it's still there. So we'll get back in the plane again for another trip. And they hired the plane again for another trip. And they got back in the plane and went up at 20,000 feet or whatever it was. And they
filmed the same UFO again.
They filmed the same UFO again.
That film is now
that film now, famous for what it is.
The time is all documented.
The time is all documented. They know when it was, what time it was, which direction the plane was pointing. They know all of that. And the debunker said it was a fishing vessel on the surface of the water.
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
It's, prawn fleet.
They always prawn fleet. There. They always go out there.
What, at 10,000 feet? That's a
pretty tall 10,000 feet? That's a pretty tall ship.
I don't know about you, boy.
That's how I prawn.
That's how I prawn.
You say I'm a liar, boy. It's God and have some words.
And then they go, oh no, it's Venus.
And then they go, oh no, it's Venus. And so you go to that, that
software you can get Mechie that
software you can get Mechie that shows you
whenever it is,
roll the time back to whenever it is, go to wherever on the planet, you can see the stars.
Yeah.
There was no Venus. In fact, Venus was
on the other side of the Earth. In fact, Venus was on the other side of the Earth.
And there was no way
when that happened, and there was no way that you could have seen it from 10,000 feet. So all these declarations that it was something
obvious. And I like watching there's a lot of
there's a lot of the UFO shows on Discovery Channel
and they get
some history.
And they get some sad debunker up there who will say something so ridiculous
that I've got my head in my hand
because it was so ridiculous.
Because it was so ridiculous. Like, that was a prawning fleet, right? From an aircraft at 10,000 feet, you'd be able to see the light from a prawning fleet.
Out the side window.
Out the side window.
Well, you don't understand atmospheric conditions. You see, that's the problem, Dave. You don't understand the atmospheric conditions with the clouds and the swamp gases and the geese and all the kinds of things that happen in the air.
They all had
taken placebos. Is what.
So this other guy said, you don't know what the military have.
He asked a question.
He didn't actually state anything.
He only asked a question. And there's his spot on TV. That guy's now a debunker because he asked a question. That's awesome.
I might switch. I might switch streams here and just become a debunker.
I reckon he's wrong.
I reckon he's
we
wrong.
We could be great debunkers, Dave, and we make it fun. Trust me.
Yeah.
Really good debunkers.
Yeah.
I've got an armchair.
I've got an armchair.
I've got 2 armchairs.
I'm going to put my feet up on another one.
I'm going to put my feet up on another one. And I'm going to find some
blog somewhere on the
unknown blog somewhere on the planet
where
people talk rubbish about everything.
That aren't even relative
that aren't even relative to ufology.
The potato harvest this year is going to be excellent.
There you go.
Which clearly shows
there you go.
Because potatoes are very affected by alien technology. We all know that. Did you know that? Everybody knows that.
Potatoes.
It's just like what the
potatoes. It's just like
aliens. They're allergic to them.
For aliens, they're allergic to them.
Potatoes.
They can't be around potatoes.
Sorry, that's the music. Oh.
You know what? You just heard a lot of relief.
You just heard a lot of relief from both of us having been able to discuss this because
it grinds us so hard, and
we're so sorry to anyone who doesn't sort of allow themselves to think the right things.
Have fun and donate.
Donate. That's right.
See you next week for show 171.
Take care, everyone.